So let me tell you the real reason that people stop right before their life expands. It's not fear of failure. It's not fear of success. It's that the identity that kept them alive doesn't believe the life that they desire is survivable. It's unfamiliar. And until you understand that tension, you'll keep doing what most high achievers do. You'll continue to create incredible things and still feel like something is missing. Because underneath your goals, underneath your vision, underneath your ambition, there are two identities running your life. One is built from survival, and the other is built from desire. And if the survival identity is still driving the bus, expansion will always feel unsafe. So, if you're new here, my name is Dustin Wheeler, and I help conscious creators retrain their nervous system and redesign their identity so that they can create from true choice instead of survival. Because most people are not stuck because they're broken, they're stuck because their survival identity, the identity that learned how to stay alive, is still running the show. And let me just remind you, there is nothing wrong with this identity. This is survival intelligence. You are in grand design. But what you have to understand is that your survival identity forms between the ages of 0 and 4. And at that age, babe, you're not consciously choosing, you're absorbing. Your nervous system is scanning what keeps me safe, what gets me love, what avoids rejection, and what prevents chaos. And from those answers, your nervous system builds an identity. And that identity becomes what I call the not it identity. The I'm not enough, I'm not capable, I'm not worthy, I'm not perfect, I'm not significant, and I don't belong. And the thing is that the not it identity believes that something is missing, that something needs fixing, that something needs solving, that something needs healing. And this identity lives inside a loop. Problem, fix, problem, fix. And it spends your time, your energy, and your effort trying to solve the unsolvable problem of you not being enough. Here's the deeper layer that most people also never understand is that the identity just doesn't come from childhood. It also carries instructions passed down in your blood and bone for up to 7 generations. So you're living out instructions that were never even yours to begin with. Because family nervous systems transmit fear of scarcity, fear of visibility, fear of success, fear of abandonment, and your unconscious inherited instructions about what was survivable. And then your nervous system does what your nervous system does best is it replicates what is predictable, what is familiar, and what is recognizable, even when the familiar hurts, because familiar equals survivable. Now, let's talk about the desire identity because the desire identity is very different. And I call this the it identity. This identity does not come from survival, it comes from creation. Because the truth is, babe, is that you are already it. You are not fucking broken. You are the creative force within, and you have always been in grand design. But from the it identity, you don't solve yourself, you don't fix yourself, and you don't fucking endlessly heal yourself. You create. You choose what you want and you move toward it. But here's where the friction appears is that the moment that you step off that predictable path and move into expansion, you lose the ability to know how. And let me tell you, the survival identity is going to freak the fuck out because your unconscious identity still believes that what you desire is not safe to have. So it tries to stop you. It tries to keep you busy going back to trying to solve the unsolvable problem of you not being it. Not because it hates your dreams, because it hasn't learned yet that they're survivable. Oh, I work with a lot of high achievers, people who are incredibly capable. They build things, they succeed, they create opportunities, but their nervous system still runs survival programming, which means productivity becomes tied to worth. Rest feels dangerous, and receiving feels unsafe. They will build the thing and then immediately move to the next, not because they're ungrateful, but because their nervous system never learned how to receive safety in expansion. So instead of enjoying what they create, they go and chase the next mountain. So let's talk about the difference between safety versus aliveness, because this is where another unconscious belief secretly hides. And this is the belief that if I just keep everything safe, I won't experience storms. And then that safety becomes the harbor. You see, the unconscious believes that if I stay here, nothing bad will happen. But babe, life doesn't work that way. And you can't create a life without storms. Storms are part of being alive. And something else happens when you stay in the harbor too long. Repeating the familiar becomes painful in its own way because the harbor becomes a cage. And the ocean ultimately begins calling because you weren't built to just stay safe, babe. You were built to feel alive. Now, why people really fear their own expansion is because expansion changes more than your life, it changes your identity. And identity shifts create uncertainty, which the nervous system reads as fucking danger. So the survival identity whispers, maybe I really don't want this. No, maybe it's not the right time. Or maybe I should just stay where things are predictable, where I can feel like I'm in control. But the truth is simpler, babe. It's not that you don't want the life that you desire, it's that your nervous system hasn't learned yet that it's safe. And this is where conscious creation becomes so fucking powerful. Not because you eliminate fear, but because you retrain your nervous system. You stop creating from what you have survived and start creating from what you choose. And you move from the not it identity into the it identity, it in the now and it in the now then. From solving yourself to creating your life, from being the oldest version of your past self into the youngest version of your future self. And inside the spiritually kinky community for creators on school, this is exactly the work that we do. We don't force ourselves to change limiting beliefs. We don't force our feelings into being high vibe. And we don't try and fucking fix or heal what was never fucking broken. We help you remember who you are. And we retrain the unconscious so your nervous system can automate your superpowers towards what you would love to create instead of what you had to survive. So if you're ready to stop shrinking back into survival and start becoming the version of you that your desires have been pointing towards, then I invite you to come join us. Because here's the truth, babe, is that you were never broken. You are not broken. You are the creative force within, and you get to choose what you would love to create. So whether you're here to be a little bit spiritual, or you're here to be a little bit kinky, or you're here like me to be a whole lot of both, lead with love, my friends. And in case nobody told you today, I see you, I feel you, and I love you, and you are not alone. Mm.